All right, we are, well, saying goodbye to a dear friend. Um, Picked this car up. Actually, it was somebody I knew. I sold him parts for it. It sat for a long time. This originally came from Ohio. It's got 200,000 miles on it. Um, and it's very, 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 very rusty. So let's do a quick walk around. I did a compression test last night because I have someone that wants the motor. I took pictures of it, so I'm going to throw them in there now. So everything for the compression was pretty much right around. It was 160 and above on 3 compression strokes, which is basically what you do. And the motor was cold. Okay, so let's check this thing out. All right, now I got the fender. I did pull this fender off. There's a fender on the other side. There was a bumper cover. It did have a large front mount. Uh, it was an okay one, nothing super fancy. I pulled the fuel relay to do the test. Somebody made a fancy hose here. Looks like the rad was replaced at one time. Somebody lost the bushings here or whatever, so they put some silicone on. Hard to say. Oil does look pretty good. Still has the AC. This car did have a stock turbo. The guy cut this off and was trying to put a large turbo kit on here, which did not come with the sale of the car. No big deal. Like I said, you can see they still left the lower piece. I started it up, drove it in here like this. It is very noisy. Like everybody just rips these things off, and you need them. So we have that. Car does have, that's a stage 1 ECM. You can tell by this little sticker here. I didn't really get too much into it. Some aftermarket coilovers. All the tires and the wheels all look pretty good. I think I sold him this door and this door. So you can see they did try to do some rust repair here, and you know, they rust here, so they filled that in. Take a look here. We are, ooh, I'm just on those pads here on this side, but you can see like they sprayed it with paint, I guess black, so it didn't look so rusty. So there's nothing there. On this side, let's walk around over here. I mean, it looks like this core support's usable, so I'll be trimming that front clip off of this. These are the original doors. I got a Cardinal out here. Loves the mirrors, so I mean the car is really no good, so I just let him have fun with this one. I just pulled these off. The black paint I kind of sprayed on there the other day, trying to waste a can of paint. I kicked this a couple times with my foot, and this is what we have. Just hold this off right there. But like I said, nice wheels, nice tires, no rockers. I did start throwing a bunch of trash in here, so this thing has become a dumpster. I don't know if it's worth me pulling the back bumper, because they started putting Bondo over top of it here, but I'll check up underneath here. I'm gonna pull the exhaust off, probably pull this emblem. It looks like it was deteriorating. Somebody actually maybe I don't know, started painting it with a marker. You can tell this, since it says Dodge Neon, I think that's probably just a regular neon trunk. The wing I'm gonna probably keep. Taillights are, I don't know, spray painted junk. You can see, like I said, they got this Bondo together right there. Here's inside. You can kind of see how bad that is. Driver's seat, well, maybe I can pull some parts off of it. I'll be pulling whatever I can. It you know, the wiring, the shifter cables, the shifter, If the e-brake handle's good, I'll probably pull these front seats, pull parts. If anything looks good on any of these door panels, I'll be pulling it. The whole dash, I'll pull the whole dash, see if the wiring's good. That one's actually got a screw on it a little bit. So we have that. You know, the boost gauge is at 0, so it looks like we got a good boost gauge, bad pod. I think these lit up when I turned the key on. They're a bunch of glow shift gauges, so I'll be finding a home for that. We'll see if the motor's any good in this, but this is actually silicone shut. I can show that on the outside. I mean, we're talking some bad rust. You can see the light coming through. So it's had a hard life. It's the best way to say it. And then, like I said, you know, dirt and everything gets in here and it comes down into here. See this? And your water doesn't run down. And then this down here, I'm sure it was full of dirt, which is why it started rusting out or off on this. So this car, man, definitely had a rough life. But, I mean, hopefully a couple of these doors are good. The engine is good. I'm going to start it one last time. I'm going to test out the transmission and see if it shifts through the gears. I'm going to run this thing a really short time because we don't have anything on here. The exhaust just kind of pumps straight up out, but it will still work for something quick. I started it, drove it in real quick yesterday just to get it in here. So let's get this thing tested out, see if we got a good trans. Pull it apart. Hopefully, let's see if this battery here has enough charge. I think it does. It's just, that's a really bad connection there. Now, this thing's gonna be really, really loud. Didn't have to plug off 2 vacuum lines. So it looks like we got a volt gauge, oil pressure, and temperature. Did I plug the coil in? All right, it helps if you have fuel pressure. Round 3, sir. Grind on first, downshift. Shut down, drain fuel. All right, it runs, it doesn't knock, it doesn't bang, even though that's kind of hard to hear over that. If you blip the throttle, we would have heard that inside no matter what. Trans has a first gear issue on downshift, so third gear seemed to be okay, but all right, so this is how not to install your thermostat housing here. So get both bolts out. Gluing that sucker on with all that silicone, yeah, that's a no-go. Don't do that. Alright. Looks like the intake is going to be the same way. I'm not sure what's going on down here with these bushings, which is probably why we had a issue shifting into first. Look at these things. Look at them. What in the heck was someone trying to create here? Look at this. Tape. Tape. There's tape in there. Try to get that down on there. So, yeah. The stuff some people can create. Sorry, bouncing the camera around. The stuff that some people can create here is just quite mind-boggling. So, it looks like we do have the sensor for the oil gauge coming out of the side of the head here. Just working on getting some of this stuff unplugged. We had some broken clips on a bunch of stuff. I mean, like I said, I'm sure this is not the original motor. That looks like that was replaced. Alright, so I'm going to work on getting the bolts off of the intake. Then we'll hit that with a hammer. Alright, so once I got the thermostat housing removed, I don't know if you can pick it out just as of yet. I just was like, screw it. I'm going to take the fuel injectors out, because I have no plans on keeping this intake due to this nasty repair down here. So it's not something I can pass on to somebody. So let's see just how much. We got a nice little pry on it and it came right off. Alright. This is kind of a... Oh my gosh, look at that gooey mass of silicone. Goodness. And it has one gasket on it down here. Oh my goodness. Like, it really makes you wonder what people think when they do this stuff. Alright, well, I got a clamp to get off, and we're going to get this set off to the side. Looks like they siliconed. There's an O-ring here. You don't need silicone there. My goodness. Like, I guarantee what damaged this is actually this thermal gasket. Because a lot of people over tighten that. And you can kind of see it's thinner toward the top. And then it cuts down. So yeah, they definitely overdid it there. Alright. Something you should not need to do to a car. Alright, not sure where I'm at. But that was a day ago. So, basically I have everything undone here with the wiring harness is all pulled over. We're down to like heater core hoses. I've already got the chain hanging on this thing. This axle's out on this side, so we're down to trans mount, center mount, and getting this axle out. And we can pick this engine up out of here. Take a look at exactly what we got. I was just looking here. I don't know if anybody's seen this, but they painted the valve cover. And then they taped this off, and they actually painted this on the same time they painted the valve cover. But it's funny, they took a couple of the bolts out because they don't have paint on them. I just thought that was kind of funny. And then the neon green on the motor mounts is also kind of funny too. So, but like I said, along with the transmission, we've seen how they had that stuff. You can really see, I don't know if I showed this, to really see the silicone down here. So this transmission was apart. Looks like a stock clutch does not actually look that old inside there, believe it or not. Just looking through there real quick. I got the power steering unit is drained. I've got, like I said, a very few things. I'm going to be setting up the engine hoist. We'll get this thing on the floor. We'll separate the transmission, pull the clutch. I'm not going to worry about pulling too much off of this engine. And we're just going to send it the way it is so that it can bring another srt4 to life here. We got some more parts that we're going to be pulling off. This actually looked to be in some pretty good condition other than the globs of silicone. So we actually got to clean that off to see if it's any good. But we had they had a stock 195 in there. So that needs wire brush to see if it's any good. But yeah, there we go. We'll get this out. All right, so I like to take the bolts out of the clutch. Something's funny here. They actually had good, I mean, they might have been new replacements by the way the bolts look, but they actually had them numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they had a square on that, but we're up, we're out. They had the wrong bolt in here, which just snapped off. I mean, looking at this trans, like I said, it's 100% parts. Man, it's gonna be pretty wild to see what they rigged up inside of that thing. It does have a K&N oil filter in it. I don't know why it's got a number 2 here on this block, but like I said, every car tells a story. So yep, there you go. PT turbo. So it's out of a PT, so it's 100% not the original motor. It definitely was replaced at one time. They did do the oil cooler delete. I think it did it pretty dirty. So that's a pretty bad rig job, but it does have a K&N filter on it, so somebody did spend money on oil at one time to change it out. With a little bit more coolant fall out of this thing. I'm gonna get this thing sitting on the floor. We'll get the trans separated. I would say by looking at that, it probably had the timing done at one time, a long time ago. But yeah, whew. All right, let's see what we got in here as far as a fork and a clutch, which it looks like it's some kind of stock replacement. No paint or nothing on it. Oh look, they had this painted red at one time. But the fluid that was in the transmission was very clean and clear, so that was a plus. But like I said, other than the fact that first and second were no good. All right, I'm gonna get this on the floor. We'll separate that. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I got a gear set here off of an input shaft. I keep trying not to kick. And then we got a little bit of a mess, but we'll get this thing separated and see exactly what we got. All right, so they left us a little note here. Looks like 217.20 maybe? Could be 18. 217.18. Yeah. Hard to say, but they got that. Let's see. Kind of a clutch we have. Look, it's a sack, so it's a factory replacement. Silicone on there. Oh, looks like a, yep, DCR or some brand of modified fork there. That works. Hard to tell, but I think the shaft looks good on this side. So it could be a good input shaft. We'll know when we get that torn apart. So pretty much I'm down to pulling a flywheel off of this thing. And it'll be ready to go. I mean, I could probably pull this stuff off and toss it, but that's all it's gonna be, because that stuff's junk. I wouldn't use it on anything else. All right, so it's been, man, probably a week since I had a chance to get back to this. I did get some stuff pulled. I mean, this really sucks. This is actually a pretty nice looking throttle cable down through here, but somebody decided that we didn't need the little tab that holds it on there. So that sucks. But anyway, I got the dash out. What seats were in here? I'm down to doing like some bottom work. So I'm not going to worry about pulling any of this other stuff that's in here. This harness is going to come out. We got a couple tools. I'm going to get these popped down through. I'm not even worrying about this rear harness, but I will be stripping out these doors. If anyone knows, these things right here kind kind of at a premium. They're kind of hard to find that are good. So I'll be pulling everything probably pretty much out of this door. When it comes to that, I got a couple windows, so might not save these. The tint looks pretty good on them. So I got the rear doors to do. That one I'm swapping out with another car. So I'll have a door for that side and we can fill this thing up. I have to get the rear suspension unbolted. I know I had to get the fuel tank, but we can get all that stuff. My plan, like I said, is I like to get everything loose to the point where I just slap a lug or two on each wheel. I can roll this thing out. I've already got my trailer prepped to stick this thing up on. And then I'll lift it with the forks, which there's really no weight here in the front end. I'm going to be saving the spindles and the coils. The rear, if I can get the whole rear control arms off, I will save that and the radius arm. They actually do not look that bad, amazingly. It sucks for this. I'm not sure if I want to keep it or not. When I was popping it off, I don't know, I just got a little... There's only one here holding it on, so that one decided it wanted to keep the entire side skirt. So, I mean, you might not see that. You could fill it up a little bit before you would install it. So, I mean, that still might go on my keep pile, as hard as those front ones now are to get, because everybody seemed to let them down on a jack and they always got cracked right here. Now, but yeah. Front fender still needs to come off. And just a couple small minor things here in the front end. I'll get this out of the way so that we can remove this whole harness just to make that a little bit easier. But we've been saving things like our interior bolts. There's our under engine bolts and some of those for the mounts and stuff. Not much here left. I didn't really find anything too crazy. The way they had, it was pretty weird. The way they had this run for the AFR gauge was all tucked up in behind the stereo. They had the stereo wiring running the same way, kind of down in behind. Everything was zip tied and just a mess. Some of these clips, like the one clip for here, was missing. So like there's a zip tie that's normally not there. So I got to get that cut off. That'll help get it through. This here needs to be fed through this hole, but everything here is all loose. It will all come out now, and then we can get everything out of the way. So some more nuts and bolts that I save. But man, we're really close. I'm gonna get this thing hopefully loaded up here soon. All right, I said I'd see this when this thing was on the truck, but we're done. Up front here, the front suspension is together. I'm gonna throw wheels on here just so this thing rolls. We're going to just undo the lower part of the knuckle, the tie rod end, add the knuckle, and this, and pull that at one assembly. The reason why I brought you in on this one was I wanted to show you that they did get the shorter end lengths, but I've never seen one installed like this. So now when you install this, you get the bolt, it gets a washer, it gets the rubber. That rubber goes directly against this. A washer does not go there. On the other side, we have a washer, which does not go there, which should be rubber. Then it's a washer, then a spacer, then another on top of the spacer goes a washer, the rubber, then the sway bar, then a rubber, then the spacer, or then the washer, then the nut. So I'm not quite sure what someone was trying to create here, but I've never seen this. I felt it was necessary to share. Both sides are like that. I did just unbolt this so that I can maybe get this pushed away from here so I can just get the gun up on. I will be saving these. It seems that sometimes people end up needing these. That reminds me, I'll have to pull these off the front. It seems like the bolts get missing or something up there and people need them. But we're going to try to get this unbolted. Look at this. There's a Superman emblem right there. At least that's kind of what it looks like. That's pretty freaky. All right. There's another first. All right. Here we go. I don't know if the rear control arm stuff's going to come off. I'm gonna fight with that once I get it loaded on the trailer. Like I said, I moved this thing with the tractor and then I'll load it on. Kind of sorted through some stuff. Got the sway bar thrown in here, and out the door it goes. If I have time, I'll add a little bit of what it looks like finished up on the trailer. Maybe even dropping it off at the junkyard. So that's it, man. The rest of this rusty beast, there wasn't much, but we did save what we could. See ya. All right, this thing is loaded. It will be going for scrap. I did really want to pull the control arm and the radius arm off of this, but those bolts up front were stuck and rusted. These ones I did get the nuts loose on the back side, but I couldn't get these to turn, and I was at the point of either snapping them or just, you know, I was gonna have to cut them off. So I just kind of left it at that, and I got that stuff off. Right now I'm in the process of, I gotta pull this forward, and I need to get this door off of here. It's got this big dent. We're gonna strip everything good off of that door. We're gonna stick it on there. We did a house clean out, and this was just like everything that was metal that didn't go into the dumpster. So that's what all this stuff is. The trunk's full of it. There is a couple other things yet that are car related, that, because like I said, I mean, hoses and plastic stuff that were just from stuff that I did. But that's it. It's gone. Hopefully it helps, whatever comes off of it helps somebody else's car live on. All right, peace.